All right, guys, welcome to the INMO show. It has been a few weeks, but we are back, and we are excited to have our new guest, Dave from Buy or Borrow Music. Today, we're going to be going over what his company does. They were the sponsor for us just a few weeks ago with our music competition that I believe Bo Mullins won, who's won 3 out of the last 4 weeks. Bo has won almost $4,000 in this past month. If anybody wants to figure out how to do that, contact Bo, because that guy is doing something on the side to make himself some money. But Dave, we appreciate you meeting with us today. We can't wait to learn a little bit more about your company, what you did, and why the inspiration to start it. But once again, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Not as good as to be Bo, but yeah, it's great to be joining and having a chat, and love to see the content that came in the last challenge.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's get into it. So tell us a little bit about your company.
Yeah, so I'm the owner and founder of a company called Buy or Borrow Music, and we are a membership subscription service for musicians that allows them to borrow music instruments, gear, accessories, all on demand. And we do that through a monthly subscription fee. So we look a lot like old school Netflix DVDs, except you can borrow music instruments and gear and accessories through our model. So we are a startup company based in Birmingham, Alabama. We have just a little less than 600 active users right now, and have been growing at a very exponential rate. So we're on a journey to fundamentally change the way that musicians get their gear.
That is really cool. So that being said, what inspired you? Because you mentioned Netflix, and you've seen the evolution of where we were with Blockbuster 25 years ago to where we are
Yep.
now. What inspired you to start this, and where do you see this going in the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years?
Yeah, great question. So I personally have been a musician all of my life. I started playing piano. I mean, gosh, I was barely 6 years old when I first started learning music, and have always been a gearhead. I've bought and sold so much equipment over my life, and I know intently how much of a struggle that is for musicians, because musicians are always evolving, right? So if you're, even after you're progressing from beginner to amateur and beyond, gear is sort of like it's the musician's paintbrush, right? And so there was a huge problem in the market for people who were constantly buying and selling gear, and there are tons of websites that have grown and existed just to support and cater to that, but nothing had ever addressed the underlying problem, which is it's just too expensive for a lot of musicians to be able to keep up. So we really started trying to think of a vision of a world where every musician would have easy, affordable access to the tools they need to create their art. And we set out on trying to figure out how to solve for that. So, my personal background from a business standpoint, I was a sales and marketing executive at General Electric. I spent many years in corporate marketing. I've been vice president of business development and marketing for SaaS companies. So we started really trying to think about, how could you SaaSify music instruments? And that's really where the concept was born. And there's a lot of other brands that have done this in similar spaces in like fashion, like Rent the Runway has done a really great job for women's fashion, providing access, not just ownership, to high-end dresses and formal wear. And so we really took a similar model, and have been extremely blessed that we've just really found a great product market fit, and we've got a lot of really, really passionate users.
So do you guys have a niche like market, or a segment of the population that you're looking at? Is there a certain place around the country when it comes to demographics that really is a fit for you, or is that something that you guys are still trying to figure out being a new organization?
No, it's a great question, and the marketer in me, never starts down a journey until we know who our target market is, and so we really hone in on hobbyist musicians as a whole. We do have some amateur musicians, traveling musicians, recording artists that use our service, but by and large, it's folks who really enjoy music as a hobby, but don't necessarily want to go to the expense of, like, for instance, all this equipment behind me, right? Like, this is it's very expensive, capital intensive stuff to have. And so we want to be able to provide that sort of enjoyment to hobbyists or to people who are just learning. We have a lot of folks that are members of our club that are beginning musicians. We're starting to partner with a lot of other companies like TuneLark, which are sort of revolutionizing the online music lesson
Yeah.
sort of market. And so those are really where we focus, hobbyists and those that are just beginning their journey.
So I was on a Zoom yesterday with a agent out of New Jersey/New York, and one of the things that they were telling me is just the music industry has changed so much. Just in the past few years, they do work with Black Eyed Peas and Fergie and John Legend, and they've done work with Spin Doctors and Meatloaf. So it's obviously crazy all throughout the music realm of 20 years ago to where they are today. But they said one of the things that's so unique is back in the day, you really gave people the ability to have the time to create their craft. And you're seeing the music agencies are kind of dying in front of our eyes as we speak, and everybody's wanting to see that one-hit wonder right now. With all that being said, when you're looking for trends in the market and where people are going, because I think social media, with what we're doing with INMO, everybody's trying to figure out how to get eyeballs on them all the time. What do you guys see as trends that you're looking for to appease your market, to get people to see Buy and Borrow, and why it can be prominent and relevant for what they're trying to accomplish?
Well, you kind of nailed it there, Blake. I mean, what you guys are doing with INMO and what is happening on social is the future. And, historically, you had to have a record contract and you had to go to a fancy studio. Well, now you can have a studio in your home. In fact, a lot of the products that we borrow out are, recording interfaces and microphones, because the ability to do home recording now is just, it's so easy, and you can get great quality results. So, I do think you're right. I think a lot of folks are pushing toward, singles and sort of one hits. And it's this whole, game of trying to get on a playlist on Spotify, or trying to get a music feature in, a video game or a commercial or something like that. But I think that the real innovation and the real trends are happening at the sort of grassroots social level, which is always where music has bloomed, right? It's all about local grassroots movements. And so, one of the things I love about your platform is that it's really kind of pushing that power back to the creators, because I think historically, you had to run this sort of rat race of like, oh, well, I've got to go get a booking agent, and then I've got to go find, someone who will sponsor a recording deal. And it's just not that way anymore. There's so many ways to monetize your art in brand new ways.
Yeah. Well, I'll end with this one. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer to this, but in your opinion, what's kind of the one piece of advice you would give to somebody that is trying to break into the music industry?
That's a good one, and we, being on the gear side, we certainly support that. We're not as attuned to all the trends of, from the talent perspective, but I would give this advice to anyone that's creating, which is follow what you're passionate about and what's going to make you really driven to produce a great product that you're proud of, and the rest will follow, right? And then be consistent. So I guess that's, maybe you asked one, I'll give two.
No, that's
one
fantastic.
is follow your passion. Follow your passion, but consistency. And that's the thing that we see with so many creators, right? It's like, you get jazzed up, you make one piece of music, but then you give up and you wait 2 months and you make another one. Every day you wake up, just be making music. And it's the same thing in business. It's the same thing in art. It's the same thing in, physical fitness. It's just the being consistent with what you're doing, because you're always getting better. It's like, you want to be a better songwriter, just guess what? Write more music. That's the way to get there.
We really appreciate you being on today, and we appreciate you being a sponsor. What we're going to talk about just a little bit more is, as we talk a few minutes ago about evolving, that's what we have to do as a new brand, a new product out there. When we first started, we're trying to figure out who is our product, who is our market fit, who is our key demographic that we're trying to get out to. And we're learning every single day, every single week, hey, we feel like some segment of the population like this, some industry likes that. And that's why we're every single week coming out with these new challenges. But one of the things that we've also learned, we live in a world of goldfish. People want something right then and right there. And what we've seen is we've been putting out these new challenges every single week. We see a plethora of videos early on, but it kind of trickles off near the end of the week because people want right then, right there. And so what we're going to be doing as INMO, literally starting today, is we're going to change up the structure of these challenges going forward. we're going to have 2 challenges every single week instead of 1. So we'll have 2 3-day challenges starting this week. Really today, it is going to be, what is your favorite bar? So that being said, I'm going to ask you that question right here on the spot. What is your favorite bar?
What is my favorite bar? Gosh, man, that's tough. I wish I had more time to get out. I'll tell you one that I miss dearly here in Birmingham was the Atomic. I used to love going to the Atomic because the atmosphere and the crazy costumes and all that kind of stuff. Man, that's really tough. If I had to pick one that is still around, man, I would. If I had to get out today, you know what, man? I would probably just walk on Northside First Avenue because I feel like that's, it's always a changing demographic, right? But it's that's kind of what I would probably do if I had to go out today.
That's good. Appease the people there. You got many bars that are going to like your answer right there. With that being said, we've been doing things one way, which you're going to change up quite a bit as well. We have introduced tokenomics onto our platform. We've had some people that have downloaded the wallet, and anybody that wants to play moving forward, we would encourage you to download your wallet into the INMO app. If you come on and do that, we will actually give you INMO tokens. The way they work is very simple for people to understand. It's a USDC coin, so basically you put $1 in, you get $1 out. But in order to play in the INMO challenges moving forward, you got to have your wallet. Anybody can get on, anybody can scroll, but if you want to be a part of these 2 challenges that we've got every week, you got to have that download of the wallet. And once you win, or if you get on the scoreboard, we put coins right there in your wallet, which then you can take out like some other platforms, go right in your bank account and go and rent from BuyOrBorrow and get some stuff from Dave and his team. This week, for first place will be $100, all the way down to 10th place being $10. So everybody on the scoreboard has a shot to win, but it'll be exciting to see what people do, especially when the time frame changes up from 7 days to 3 days. But we can't wait to see what everybody's got. Dave, we really appreciate you guys being on the show today. You guys have been a fantastic partner. And as we've said from day one, we are built for the people. So we want to know what you think. We want to know what your fans think. We want to know what your followers think. And that's really kind of how we built this. We built the playground for people to come in and say, hey, this is what we think you should add. So we love the feedback. But once again, we appreciate you being on the show today. Thank you so much, and we will see you guys next week.